Survivor's ready.
If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
The queen stays queen.
You said rustle feathers.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to talk lamely. We have ripe bananas all the time.
Dude, my prize isn't even $1 million. My prize was that I fell in love in this game. Love at first sight. Her name is Candace.
You officially go down as the dumbest survivor ever.
Welcome to Not Game, All Personal. Hey, we are a Survivor podcast here to talk about all things Survivor, more specifically the events of this week's episode. I'm Nathan. This is Tony, and Tony, just be straight up with me. Are you quitting this podcast too?
Man, I'm thinking about it. Quite frankly, I'm thinking about it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm also thinking about it, but I'm not going to say anything until the absolute last minute, just to cause maximum chaos for everyone involved.
I'm not gonna tell anyone. I'm gonna throw Sifu a bone. Why not? He kind of deserves it. Didn't hate that actually. Yeah. It's just so frustrating. And I was on Twitter or Reddit, and it was like, this isn't new. People forget how many people like quit in the early seasons, and it's like, okay, that's fair. Maybe it's partially like it's more challenging now, but also we haven't had many quitters in the past few seasons, and now it's just 3 of the 4 episodes to me have been duds, and I was not super interested. At least when it came to Tribal. Honestly, the rest of the episode I enjoyed quite a bit, but the Tribal, and it's just they play it like I'm supposed to feel bad for him, and it's like I just don't feel bad for you. And if you want me to really get into it, there's a part of me that feels like this emphasis on your individual story and like how that fits into your Survivor experience almost encourages this, because they learn something about themselves. Blah 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 blah. No, that's not what. Like, yes, that's cool when that happens, and you play the game and you're good at the game. Like David from he was in what was he originally on? Millennials versus Gen X.
Yep.
Yeah, he like that story was so cool, but your story of going to every tribal council and then deciding to quit because you don't want to be there, like, dude, cry me a river.
Yeah, I had to jump to the Facebook group like as soon as it was happening, and let me tell you, they don't like quitters over there. There were about I don't know if you spend a lot of time in Facebook groups. You shouldn't. Like, it's just
I haven't been on there in a long time.
Good for you, but like usually like the admins have to approve a post. Not in this group, anyone can post. So there were literally 30 posts in a row, all within the last 3 minutes, and most of the posts contribute nothing. It's just like, stupid, I hate this. That's a whole post. My favorite one, okay, and this is why I bring it up, is someone. This was a really good point. They said we should change the name of the show to Quitters. Genius.
Dude, wow, what a dynamite thing to say. It sounds like they took some time to really think that one through too.
Well, that's all the show is anymore. It's just quitters. No one's surviving.
Quitters.
Nobody's surviving anymore. They just quit. That's all they do. Yeah, it came out of nowhere. Like, absolutely nowhere. Especially because, so his story, if we want to get into dissecting it, okay? He has a Mormon background, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very strict religion. So he's talking about Survivor and his life and like making up lost time, right? Because his adolescence, growing up, like he missed out on a lot of things that other people got to do. So Survivor's helping him fulfill that. I'm like, oh, interesting. That's an interesting perspective, you know? It's like, so for that reason, I'm gonna quit. It's like, whoa, what? Like that doesn't even track what you're saying. And I think the best part, so many people have pointed out, he doesn't get to go home. He has to go to a version of Ponderosa where the pre-jury goes because everyone has to fly. So he's still stuck out there for 2 weeks. So you had to have known that. So even what you are saying about missing your husband, it was husband. It wasn't boyfriend, right?
Yeah, it was husband.
Okay, husband. It doesn't even track. So what's going on, Sean? Why are you getting lame?
part of me like genuinely when it was happening because it felt so sudden, and I was half listening to the like sad story anyways. If I'm honest, I was like, I don't care that much. And then he's like, so for that reason, like these people want to be here more. I was like, wait, excuse me. So I tuned in a little bit more, and like for a second, I was like, okay, is this a ploy to make Sifu feel really safe? Did they talk about this when the like four of them were talking and like we're gonna be talking Reba Strong the whole time, blah 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 blah. And then it's like, you know what? I'm gonna bring up this sob story about how actually I want you to vote me out and I want to go home. Because I would love that. I would love if somebody pretended to be a quitter just so somebody else was comfortable and then you vote that person out. That would have been just elite to me. But no, he really just didn't tell anyone, allowed these people to be like, yeah, we're gonna vote out our closest like one of our allies, and then was just like deuces. And then didn't vote for Sifu and then told him that it was just all a mess, dude.
I liked it. Let okay. Here's what we should run with. Let's run with a theory that that was his plan. He was just trying to throw off Sifu,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone fell for it and accidentally voted him out. That let's just run with that. He didn't actually want to quit. He wanted.
He voted D. Like, why would he vote D in that situation?
I don't know why he would vote D. That made no sense. He's just
that-
like
It seems
Oh.
insane to me. To like, maybe it was because he was blindsided. He didn't want Sifu to be blindsided, so he voted for D, hoping someone would vote for Sifu, so that D would think, or like Sifu would know that he was on the bottom or something. He was like this kindred spirit of people who were on the bottom and blindsided.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we can just read too much logic into it at all. Like I just think that's I don't know what he's doing.
Yep. All right, I'm in for that.
Carson from last season had an interesting tweet that
Hmm.
that I half agree with. He pretty much was like, "Yes, quitting is lame, stupid, blah blah blah. However, can you imagine how boring this tribal would have been if it was just majority Sifu gets out?" And I do agree to an extent because there was 6 of us that were watching together, similar to you. We're half listening to a sob story. All of a sudden he quits and we're just like, wait, what's happening? Wait, they're still voting? Oh my gosh, who voted D? Who voted Sifu? Like all this stuff. And I do think like the outcome of this is pretty good because Sifu immediately goes into third person mode. He goes, "Who voted for Sifu? Was it you? Was it you?" And D tried to keep Sean, which I think is the correct move. Like I think we talked about this with Hannah. Like if someone's gonna quit, you keep them in the game because then they'll just quit on their own. Don't waste a tribal. Like vote someone else out.
Yeah.
That way you get 2 people out. So D tries to do that, and nobody listens to her. I don't. Why didn't J Maya listen? Because J Maya wanted Sifu out. So why didn't she vote with D? I think that's the most like Julie made sense because Julie secretly wanted to keep Sifu anyways.
Mhm.
But I don't know why J Maya didn't jump ship with D. Did she just not believe her, or what was the case there?
She was just so emotionally caught up into it. Maybe I don't know.
Like, did she think D was
she
lying to her, or what?
She must have, or she just didn't think it was. I don't know. Hopefully, we get more from them about what happened there, and I'm sure we will because Sifu's pissed. But
Yeah,
it was
because
just such an odd thing.
yeah, because D was like all in. She's like yeah. Let's not listen to this. Let's go. And I kind of love that. Like that would have been so fun. And then it really was like we saw Julie trying to like make a decision. Like, oh, what do I do here? So like at least she
Mhm.
was like thinking through the options. So in my mind, she was aware that D was being truthful and like I'm still voting Sifu. Uh, so like yeah, I don't know. I just don't know why J Maya didn't do it, but it is going to cause chaos because now I assume the girls are probably going to stay strong if they go to tribal again.
Mhm.
And Sifu now has a reason to go against D, I suppose.
Yeah, he certainly does. Yeah. Oh, it's just so weird, and I hate the idea of somebody quit. I think this is what makes me mad about it. I hate the idea of somebody quitting the game, but then deciding to like impact the game with the way that they exit. It's like, no, you want to quit, and if you want to quit, just get off the freaking island. Like you shouldn't be messing with votes and voting for D and like whatever you're and telling Seafood like that just feels like it's unfair to the people that still want to play that you are just throwing a wrinkle into their plans?
Yeah,
Especially these people you just met.
yeah. I mean, that's been a conversation I think for a while because there was it 2 seasons ago? Oh my, I can't even remember her name. But there was a pretty strong instance where someone got voted out, and she pretty much like on her way out, she was just saying all sorts of things. And
Mhm.
a lot of people had the same conversation. And so I think like I agree with you. Like if you're gonna quit, it's a little like have some more respect. But I don't know. Like I guess that's part of it. I guess. But it's weird that he would have Sifu's back in that situation because by him
Mhm.
telling Sifu I didn't vote for you, that's helping Sifu out. But
Mhm.
that's throwing one of these girls under the bus, and they were all gonna keep you. In
Yeah,
fact,
they were all had your back.
the one that you just threw under the bus is the one person that didn't vote for you and wanted you to stay.
Mhm.
So like it is a shady move to be like, "Oh, these 3 girls that were helping me out, yeah, screw them. Sifu, I didn't vote for you." Yeah, it's weird.
Boo.
Well, we're just really going in on
Yeah, I wasn't ready. I wasn't
it.
expecting to, but it does
I
make me
just it
mad.
all came out. It
I
all
think I
just
don't. I think I don't process these emotions until we get on here, and then once we
same.
do, I realize, no, I am pissed about this, and I just start going in on it.
Here's the thing. I agree with you though. This was my favorite episode this season. And I think this episode I finally was like, okay, I see what people are saying because we got a really good tribe swap. We got a lot of insight. We got to see like all these new
Mhm.
relationships. And so the fact that it ended on this sour note, we're like, "Oh, we're still back to lame votes." It kind
Mhm.
of sucked.
Yep. It did suck.
Well, let's talk about some of the other dynamics we saw in this episode.
All
Is
right.
there any more you want to talk about, Reba? I feel like we really just talked a lot about them, and we even kind of got into some of the dynamics. Um, but
Yeah,
now that there's
it's just
4 people left, like what is there with this tribe?
I think I'll just say like it's always interesting when a tribe establishes an alliance but then never goes to tribal, and then you get tribe swapped with people that you were going to go against, and then you need them. Like it's always Julie and Dee watching them be like, yeah, Reba strong, totally. Like we're all together. It's
Mm-hmm.
always fun to watch. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's just a treat.
yeah, and I mean, out of everyone here, I think J Maya got the best deal of it all
Hmm.
because she was definitely in that minority of the 4-2 kind of split we saw happening in Reba. And so
Hmm.
now that she's kind of grouping in, being like, cool, the 3 of us, we're going to vote together. Sifu, he's out, like, I
Hmm.
think it's great for her. So if she can keep this up, like, who knows what happens at the merge, if Dee and Julie decide to go back with the other 2 guys or if they stick with J Maya because now they got more time with her. So I think good for her because I think we both liked her and wanted to see more. So here's something
Yeah,
more, I guess.
absolutely.
All right, some of these other tribes that we saw split
Bello or
up.
Lulu?
Let's talk about Bello. Talk about Bello next.
Bello. All right,
The
now I
new
gotta remember who
Bello.
that is.
We have current or previous Bello members Brando and Kendra, who weren't really working together. I think Brando and Kendra were kind of in that 3 girls and Brando group, which we saw for 1 episode and not much more. Then we
Hmm.
had Drew and Austin coming over for Reba. And they're a very strong duo. So good. They're lucky for them that they're together. And then you have Emily, who is in the middle. But as Austin put it, that's a great place to be because if they go to tribal, it's probably going to be a 2-2 trying to swing over Emily. How do
You
you?
could not have asked for a better situation.
Yeah,
Like any time that you're in the middle of that, especially in this scenario, because you know that Austin and Drew are lockstep. They're super tight. And then we saw in last episode Brando and um
Kendra.
oh no, we saw Brando and Kelly. So it's Brando and
Yeah.
Kendra. So they're
Hmm.
allies, but not as close. So actually, that's interesting because you have 2 that are super tight, and then 2 that are just like, we have to work together at this point. But yeah, she's in the middle, and she's not going to be the target. It would be insane to target her. Lulu is such a non-threat at this point. Now that, especially now that there's only 2 of them left. Like, yeah, you're going to keep Emily around, and man, Emily, the way that she was received by the new the new members, maybe there was just like this insane shift. Last week we talked about like, oh, are they overplaying this? Like, did she really shift that much? She must have, because they received her very well and like weren't just like super off put like the original tribe was. So it was very interesting to see how she was received by the new Bello tribe.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And it makes me wonder even more if it was just an initial week one poor edit, like did they intentionally try to like, oh, look at this person who talks too much and speaks her mind, and I don't, because it does feel like a completely different person. And I feel like a lot of people are walking back their thoughts on her week one compared to now, where I mean, you kind of had the edge a little bit by drafting her week two, but like I think she's gonna go real far. Like I really do. I could see her going to final tribal at this point.
Especially now, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that she is confidently going to stick with Drew and Austin if she does have to choose? Because that's kind of how the episode made it feel. Like she kind of had conversations with everyone, but then once they approached her, she's like, "Yes, you are my people. I felt good vibes." And I think they bought it. Like they're in on it. So I do wonder. Like, do you think she's going to stick with them?
Yeah, I think she seems like someone who would, like, you want to attach yourself to strong people because they'll always be targeted before you are, and it feels like that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to link up with them, and like being with strong people is always a good position to be in because yeah, they'll always get targeted unless they win immunity, I suppose. But yeah, I think those are the obvious two. Kendra and Brando are fine, but they're not people that I'd want to like go to battle with necessarily.
No, and I think it's just like I don't know, like obviously don't know all the dynamics, but like just like looking at the two of them, I have to imagine that like while they were maybe gonna work together on their original tribe, like they can't be close, right? Like they can't be the closest pair there. I mean, we know they're
No.
not, but like it's just such an odd pairing of the two. So I'm like, do they even stay strong together, or do they try to break off? Does Brando try to link up with Emily and be like, hey, we should go for Kendra or something? Like could there be something there?
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. I feel like that would be the move. If I were one of those two, I like to think that I would be smart enough to know that I needed to do that. So
The other
we'll
thought I
see.
had
Yeah.
with Emily is that there's a chance, because we saw Caleb go over to Reba when he raided their tribe or their camp, and he gave Drew his advantage that he earned to give to someone. And we now know that like Caleb and Emily are working together, like pretty close, like she pretty much saved him by telling him like, hey, they're voting for you. Do you think that Caleb, it's tough. Caleb gave that information to Emily at all? As far as like, hey, when I went over there, I linked up with Drew and gave him an advantage. And I wonder, would that give Emily more reason to work with them? Because I'm like, this is a good coincidence that the person, Caleb and Emily, who were a duo, Caleb linked up with Drew. Now Emily's working with Drew. So if they all come together, they just bring Caleb back in. Like, that is a strong foursome. So I wonder if there was anything there. And if there wasn't, like, it's good that she's going to be working with them now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It really makes you think, because if not, like you said, incredible coincidence. They definitely haven't shown us anything to make us believe that that's what happened yet. But that would be so clutch. And honestly, I would love that quad of people. My desk mount for my microphone fell off, so now I have to hold it the rest of the time. And so if you hear clunking, I'm sorry about that.
I noticed it and I was just vamping, but then I remember like, oh, this is a video too, so people are just watching you while I talk, just fumble this thing.
Yeah, I was like, I think I made a face. I was like, oh no.
You sure did.
Just fix it, and I was like, nope, all right, we're holding it. And now I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't clunk against things the whole time.
Yep. So yeah, Bello. What else to say about Bello? Now you just completely folded it up and you're just... Did you set it there? 7?
Yeah, now it's just set in front of me, so we're good. It felt better than like because it was like coming through a ring light, so it felt better than like holding it through a ring light. So I just folded her up and I could just lean it right here, and it's not it's not solid, so it's not super loud when it bumps up against it.
Yeah, we need some sponsors quick. Get us some better equipment. We're out here
It's my
just
flu game, guys. This is my flu game.
just coughing up a storm and
Yeah.
placing himself on mute, and you can probably tell in the video. Anything else on Bello as you cough again?
As I cough right now, just because you mentioned it. No, nothing else on the new Bello. Emily was like crying on Austin's chest after they won that challenge. Also, yeah, and that was just like, oh, take it. Like, I understand being emotional and being excited, but that's always something where it's like, all right, you're probably take it easy, you're fine.
Tony always coming back with the you can't be too what's the word? Prideful in your win, right? Is that what you
Oh, I don't think that's the heart of that. It's just seeing you
what's the
just
heart?
suddenly break down crying because you just won immunity. It's like, oh, Alright.
I'm sensing the correlation from Sabai and her idol. You know, you gotta. You saying
Yeah?
they have to earn it more, right, before they react a certain way?
No. Honestly, the fact that she didn't earn it made it more acceptable that she cried. You don't need to cry.
All right, that's fair enough. No crying in Survivor. Tony's rule.
No, that's not what I said. If she was like a little emotional, but she started sobbing, that felt like a bit much. Okay, if we really
Sure.
want to get into it.
You could be emotional and cry, but they're like only to a certain point, and then it's too much.
Yeah, and she broke that threshold.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Like I
Okay.
could be crying right now because I broke my microphone, but I'm not because no crying in
There's
podcasting.
no crying in the podcast. Got it.
Everybody knows that.
Well, speaking of crying, let's look over to Lulu, where Bruce had a major breakdown being on his previous. Was that too much crying, or was that?
That was a lot of crying, man. I hate to say it.
So
but,
he
like,
should have dialed that one back as well.
Like, take it easy, my guy. Like you were there for like 5 minutes.
That's what I was watching again with the group, and someone asked like, "Oh, is that the like?" They just didn't know that like they film at the same location every single season for the So I was like, "Yeah, it's always
Mhm.
in Fiji. It's the same islands. Blah 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 blah." Even like people who return back have done multiple seasons on the same beach. You know what I mean? It's like it's stupid.
Mhm.
And then their next question was like, "Well, was Bruce there long enough to like even know it was the same island?" I was like, "That's a good point. Like he was there, he left night one. Like how much did he take? I don't know.
And was also like delirious with a splitting headache.
I think he's still delirious if I'm being honest. But yes, he was delirious that night, especially.
It was an interesting moment when you're trying so hard to downplay the fact that you played last season. He's doing a really bad job of it because
I don't think he's trying to downplay at all.
No, but he's like trying to downplay, like, oh, we're on the same level now. Like we've basically been here the same
Right.
time, but also I'm gonna break down real, and like, I don't know. He just seems like an emotional dude, so I guess it's probably fine. But it was a lot.
Yeah. The biggest kind of takeaway from this is that the rivalry between Bruce and Katura is just bubbling.
Love
Feels
it.
like a real Gabler. I don't even remember her name. Situation.
Ellie.
Not as strong, but maybe it's all undertones. And
It
for a
feels like Bruce
while,
just now figured it out.
well,
which
that's what I was
he
gonna
probably could
say.
tell. Yeah.
For a while, it felt one-sided, which made at least me feel a little better about like, okay, so Katura, she feels this way, blah blah blah. But now it's like, oh no, Bruce knows. So now it might
Mhm.
just be an all-out war. And here's the interesting thing. So we did get 4 Bello members who are on this tribe. Kelly, Katura, Jake, and Bruce, along with
Mhm.
Caleb. Caleb is the odd man out. People were trying to get it felt like people were a little anti-Katura, not outwardly, but like there was the part where like the 3 of them got Caleb on the beach, or I think maybe 2 of them, I don't know. Like they're trying to just like slowly plant seeds, and then Katura just goes straight for Caleb. And it was just like,
Mhm.
here's what's happening. And Caleb seemed much more receptive to her, which I found fascinating. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's like what actually went down or if that's what they want us to think. But I'm like, oh, okay, so she's not just out of this. She's not like Caleb might go with this and get Bruce out. I don't know.
Yeah, somehow she might convince him and they team up to get Bruce. Yeah, it was very interesting how that was portrayed because it really did give, and just the fact that she was forthcoming with information. But that to me says that you're not in a position to give out information. If I were Caleb, that would be like my initial instinct, and I'd be like, maybe there's a little bit more to this. And also, you need more than 2 votes. So does Katurah just think that if she gets Caleb on board, then the rest are just going to be all for it? No, I certainly don't think so.
I mean, I think like Jake is obviously close with Bruce, but like Kelly, it's hard to tell. I think she's playing a good enough social game where like she's kind of safe with a lot of people. So like I think maybe there's something there. It's just like from Caleb's perspective, it seemed like he was just glad people were like she was offering up like specific information as opposed to, and so like maybe it was just comparing it to what he just talked to Bruce about, where Bruce was maybe being a little more vague about it. And he's like, finally someone tells me a name, which
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I guess it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how it plays out. And honestly, it might not play out. This might be one of those situations where we just don't get to see the battle until the merge because this team is kind of stacked. At least when it comes to like muscle, this team is pretty stacked. And so
Yes.
I wouldn't surprise me if they didn't lose another immunity until the merge.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Because I mean, like the weakest, I don't even know who the weakest is. Like you got 3 of the more athletic guys of the season, I would say, and then Kelly and Katurah, which I would say are 2 of the more athletic females as well. So, yeah, it's a very strong tribe. It is just like the perfect. I don't know. I love this tribe because I feel like this is going to be. I want to focus in on this one because Jake is just a wild card. I don't know what to make of Jake. I really don't. He's
Did
just.
you see the preview for next week?
Yeah, he's gonna fall again.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get sent home. I think there's no chance he sticks around. Sadly.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't even know like what that is, but
They showed it the one time, and then
Uh-huh.
they just like didn't address it. There was like, "Are you okay?"
no.
And him
Kendra's
and
like,
Kendra
oh,
became
did you
friends.
fall in the fire? Oh, okay. That's it. Yeah, no, he's fascinating. Kelly, I still really like, and I think it's funny because like her and Brando seem to like want to work together, and they're not on the same tribe. Jake and Kendra wanted to work together; they're not on the same tribe. And then Katurah and Bruce did not want to work together, and they're on the same tribe. So it's like, it's just a good combination. Like I don't know, I feel like this swap draw was just everything kind of fell into place.
Yeah, this is the tribe that if I could spend the most time with, it would be this one. I'm all in.
Yeah, I agree. I want to play a game with you. Maybe it's a game, maybe not. Did you happen to watch
I like games.
Prettian's video from yesterday?
No,
Picking. Okay, good. So our good friend Pretty, I'm
I
not
haven't
a
watched
real
his videos
friend,
in a
but
while, but I love his videos.
great videos, great Survivor content. Every year after the 3rd episode, he likes to pick out his 4 people that he thinks are gonna win. Modern era, he's been about 50-50, but like, mostly paying attention to the edit, like here are the 4 people that I think have the best chance. And I want you to try to guess who they are because I'll be honest,
Ooh.
it's not the list I was gonna think. Okay, so don't think too hard about
Alright.
it. Just like give me 4 names of like who do you think he thinks has the best chance to win.
Kelly.
Kelly's not on the list. He said she was 5th or
Julie.
6th. Julie's on the
Ooh.
list.
Yep. I think he'd feel good about Brando.
Not Brando.
No.
I'm actually surprised you said
Drew?
Julie. Julie was like the surprise to me. Not Drew.
Julie, I got a little bit from the edit where it's like, ooh, she feels like they're portraying her as very like knows what she's doing. Not Drew. Are we going until I get him?
Maybe get like one or two more. I don't know. However long you think this is going to be interesting, I suppose.
That's true. That's true.
I'll let you make that call.
I'm gonna go with Emily.
Yeah, Emily's one. So
Alright,
his
cool.
picks are Emily, Julie, Katura, and D. Those were his 4 picks of the people he thinks
Interesting.
one of those are going to win. Isn't that a
Those people.
fascinating
Yeah.
observation?
Huh. I'll have to watch the video and like, did he convince you a little bit, or were you still just kind of like, ah?
A little bit, but I also think it was a lot of just like he's saying something, so now I'm seeing it.
Mhm.
Because in my mind, yes, I think I would have thrown Kelly in there. His 5th and 6th, he said were Kelly and Austin, and to me, I'm like, Austin, like what? I don't
Yeah.
like. So no Drew, which I thought, like, I think we both said, like, like we think he's doing great,
Yeah, but he's like the smart threat. Like, you know that he gives off the I'm super smart vibe, and so is he gonna last? Like, that's tough to last with that.
That's true. That's true. But the other person that I would throw in the conversation would be Caleb. I think Caleb's set up pretty well. So I don't. It was just a fascinating list. So I think the Julie D combo to me, because he mentioned he's like, I got a strong duo on this list. I was like, oh, Drew and he's like, wait, Julie and D,
Yeah.
fascinating. So I don't know. We'll have to
Can I
keep an
just
eye out for that.
can I just give us some credit for not yet doing a D's nuts joke with D's name? Like, I think about it every single time we say her name, and just like, I think we need a pat in the back for just having that restraint for the first 3 episodes into the 4th.
I'll do you one better and give myself 2 pats on the back because I didn't even think about that.
I didn't until I think last episode. I was like, oh, that's hilarious, but I need to resist.
I
And I
literally
needed
did.
to bring attention to it. Oh, dang it.
Oh man. Okay. Well, now I think we have to do it, right?
Every time.
Every time. Is there anyone else you want to talk about? We kind of ran through that, but I think we covered it pretty well. There was nothing really else in the episode other than the swap. I think the episode mostly focused on the swap, and
Mm-hmm. And
there
then
was
new
no
relationships.
there was no summit, there was no advantages found, so it was pretty straightforward. Which again, I thought was the best episode of the season so far.
If you had to guess, excuse me, was the swap planned or not? What would you say?
Oh, that's a fascinating question. I'm gonna say no, because I don't give them that much credit that they would preempt. Like I just think Survivor's in this weird place where anything good that happens is happening on accident.
That's fair. I just think that like the fact that it was necessary that they swap at that point because of how Lulu had been losing and probably would lose again. That's my biggest thing. Like, yes, you have to swap at that point for sure.
And I think here's a fascinating experiment. We want to get into the multiverse of Survivor. I think
do.
if they don't swap, Lulu 100% loses again, right? Like I think we can make that clear.
Oh, with the strength, yeah, absolutely.
Because all they did is get rid of one of their stronger competitors last week.
They definitely knew because they went to the same challenge, so there was definitely the same challenge both times, and that's probably what was part of it too. It's like they're gonna lose again, and we can't have a tribe with 2 people.
Right. But I would suggest that if they don't swap, it's still Lulu at Tribal. The 3 of them. I think Sean quits either way.
That's true. So ultimately, the result doesn't change.
No, I think he's sitting there with Caleb and Emily. The same conversation's happening. Well, I think at that point he knows he's on the bottom, right? Like,
Yeah.
So I think he just quits even quicker that time. I don't even think he makes it to Tribal. He just quits on the way, being like, guys, what's the point? Just let me go home before it gets dark. I don't want to go to Tribal.
Before it gets dark. I think one thing that there is to mention, there's still an idol on the Bello tribe that hasn't been found, or an Beware advantage, right? No, Jake found it.
Did Jake find it?
Didn't he?
From what I see, I'm looking at the list of advantages. It's not listed under him, but I don't know if it would be if he didn't find it. I do not remember.
Yeah, I think he might have had the beware advantage.
So did he open it? Like, did he start the journey? I really don't remember that at all.
Maybe I made it up. Here, let me look at Wikipedia. This is important, everybody.
On
Nathan will
Survivor
cut out stuff.
Survivor Wiki, there's no advantage listed under his name. So unless the beware advantage isn't listed in that category, the only advantages I'm seeing are Austin has the idol, obviously, and then Drew has safety without power and the goodwill advantage. No other advantages because Sabaya lost her idol last week. So I don't know. It's possible he has it. If not, well, you keep looking. There is a chance. Let's say, okay, keep up with me now.
I am.
Drew and Austin, or one of them, whatever. Let's say they talk to Brando, okay? Because they're chilling on they're chilling on Bello, and they're like, "Hey, Brando, did anyone find the advantage here? You know?" Somehow they figure out no one found it yet. They could find it again, and the two of them could have 4 advantages, every advantage in the game. That's a possibility if there's still an advantage at Bello. Are you finding anything? I don't think you would.
Yeah, I don't think he's found it. I think I
Okay.
might have just invented that.
So let's run with that.
Yeah.
Let's run that. Austin finds a second beware advantage.
That would actually be hilarious.
I would love that. I would love
Mhm.
nothing more than for 4 advantages to be between 2 people.
Oh, I forgot about the lack of tact by Katura when she was like, "No, I want to hear what he has to say about describing what happened at that." Like, there's just, is it worth checking his story that much that you're going to tell him to shut up and just tell everybody that you don't trust what he told you? Like, you have to weigh those
Yeah.
values and realize that it's not worth it.
At least wait till it's like a one-on-one conversation with Caleb. But if it ends up, it seems to be working with Caleb, so I don't know. I'm telling you, when her and Caleb talked, it just threw off the entire last 10 minutes. I'm like,
Maybe
wait.
Caleb is just drawn to the most toxic players in the game, and he just helps them to get over those toxic tendencies.
He is he's a fixer. He
Yeah.
finds that person and says, "Let me help you."
Yep.
I noticed that you're speaking your mind a little much. Let's partner up.
If only Brandon, Russell's nephew, was on the season.
Oh gosh, I don't ever want to hear that name again.
Too much? Too far? Yeah, that felt too far. When it was coming
Let's
out of
end
my
this
mouth.
episode before Russell Hance tries to dox our number. Did you see that?
No, who did he dox?
Wendell's number.
Oh, that's too bad.
Because Wendell
I like Wendell.
unfollowed him like a year ago. Russell just
Oh.
noticed. Russell texted Wendell. Okay, so here's let's just walk through it. Survivor drama
Let's
time.
let's do some tea.
So Wendell posts a screenshot of a text between him and Russell. Okay.
Mhm.
Wendell tweets this out. No number. He doesn't dox him, right? He just apparently he unfollowed Russell a while ago. Most people do. Most people don't like Russell anymore. And Russell texted Wendell, and he goes, "What's up, man? I noticed you just unfollowed me." And then Wendell doesn't respond, and a couple hours later, he texts again. He's like, "Is it because I'm white? Because it kind of feels like that." And Wendell just tweets that out. He goes, "What do I even?" He's like, "Something like, what do I even say to that?" Like, like just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And after that, Russell can consider that like, I don't know, whatever. So he doxed his number, and so then Wendell had to change his number. So just very weird
Gosh.
behavior.
A few years ago, I saw like Russell's YouTube channel, and I watched some of it, and I was like, man, he does have some interesting thoughts in the game. He does have a good mind for Survivor. I feel like he does. But just hearing stories like that, it's like, man, he still is extremely unhinged.
Yeah, no, he does. He's not slowing down at all. He's just same. Just life is a game of Survivor. No turn off switch.
Same with Richard Hatch. Like he has his YouTube channel. He has some good thoughts and some like they have a mind for the game and they know the game so well that it's always fun to listen to them. But he's got his stuff too.
There does. All right. Well, let's end this episode.
Let's skedaddle.
For more episodes, visit notgameallpersonal.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere listed to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube at NGAPPod. That is at NGAPPod. I'm Nathan. This is Tony, and we will see you next time.
45 seasons, 2 friends, 1 survivor.